Everyone, and welcome back to Pandemonium, where today we are going to be answering the most important question in the world. No, it's not going to be the meaning of life. It is going to be which player is the best PUBG Mobile player in the world. And to kind of answer that question, I'm going to be joined by Jason, as always, on Pandemonium. What's up, man? How you doing?
Well, I have to say, I did not expect this video that we did to pop off as much as it did. Like, how many comments are we at right now? How many likes? Like, it is insane. Everyone has their own thoughts of who they think the top player in the world is. And we did compile a little bit of a list here. How many names are there? About 10?
Yeah, about that much.
10 of the most said names.
We couldn't get all the names because I'm not going to go through like 1,000+ comments. That I was going to do a pie chart initially, but not happening. So we're just going to go through
some more of that, please.
Oh, no more of that, please. No, we're stopping that. But I want to go through some of the big names that were coming out of the community, and we're not really going to say which player we think at the end is like the best. Just do we agree with what the community says, and at the end we can see who we think might be the best. But I just want to see how that's going to go. So to start things off here, Jason, we're going to go with Carrillo of Alpha 7, which of course IGL Fragger. He's got a lot going for him to be possibly the best player out there. But what do you think about Carrillo?
I think he is. I think he deserves to be on the list to be discussed, because he has been at the highest level of PUBG Mobile for a very long time. Thinking back to Loops, right? The original Loops. So for me, he's definitely deserving because he's been there for 5 years, whereas some of these other names haven't been there. But to be called maybe the best player in the world, I wouldn't necessarily stand behind that. I think he's in contention for like top 10 for sure. But I can think of like someone who does his role within a team and does it better. Like for instance, Doc. Yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't know about yours.
Yeah, I think Carrillo is a great IGL. I think he's able to maneuver the team in the right spot. But when it comes to fragging, I would always look more in the direction of Revo Mafioso specifically, especially after PMWC. So IGL, 100%. Fragging wise, I think I would maybe lean a bit more towards Revo, which actually is the second name on the list here. I think fragging wise, Revo is such a good standalone player. MVP potential for so many global events. Hasn't got the title just yet, Jason, but for me, Revo, in terms of fraggers, he is like top 5 easily for me.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep in mind, right? This isn't like the best in-game leader in PUBG Mobile. It's not the best fragger in PUBG Mobile. It's kind of like the all-around player. I think in my books, Revo is more likely to get that than like Carrillo, for instance, and maybe Mafioso, you can argue. Best player, are we talking, I need to quantify this. Are we talking this year? Are we talking ever?
Like
I actually
right now,
don't remember.
At this
right
point
now.
in time. We're like also just to like also give information. We're in day 2 of PMGC, so we're also using that to like kind of compare these players. But yeah.
Okay. Revo, I think he's very likely. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying he's very likely. So far between him and Carrillo, he is more likely than Carrillo in my eyes.
Yeah. And now that we get into it, it's really hard to like quantify and say which is the one. It's like you got a list, but to choose one out of all these strong players, it's really hard, I feel like.
I mean, like with Revo, right? You have to look at Alpha 7. Like you have to also associate the player with the team. And Alpha 7 have been playing really damn well this year. If they win PMGC, I think you probably could say Revo is the best player in PUBG Mobile in the world.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's move on from Alpha 7. We spent like already 3 minutes on Alpha 7. I want to go over to another region here. We're going to go to CSA, talking about Doc, which he's our boy, Jason, when it comes down to it. And I feel like this guy, if you look at all the skills that a player needs to be a good PUBG Mobile player, like Doc has it. Utility, fragging potential. He's an IGL, bloody hell. Like, this guy is so good on so many fronts. Like, for that alone, for how much he can bring to a team, he's in like the list for sure, like top 3.
He's the complete package as a player. Easily a complete package. The only problem is they haven't won any global titles. And that's the one thing that kind of hinders him of maybe, for me, locking him in as the best player in the world. I think he's definitely like in the running. Top 3 in my eyes for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree on that one. Followed up by then RayG, which I'm sad he's not in PMGC, Jason. He could have done the Grand Slam of being MVP in so many different events. And when you look at top player in the world here, Jason, this is something I really wanted to bring up when it came to RayG. Do you only look at the global events or how they also play locally? Because if you're looking at local play too, I would say RayG, like could not say he's the best player in the world. He was definitely up there, but he's not the best because locally he's not getting those MVPs. He's not allowing his team to like win the tournament. So like globally, sure, but in the bigger picture, I would have to say he's not like the first because he got back-to-back MVP.
If they made PMGC and he was MVP again, I would give it to him. Yes. Honestly, I feel like that you cannot deny that with PMG MVP, PMWC MVP. But yeah, they didn't make it to PMGC unfortunately this year. I think in my eyes, he's not in the running for best player in the world right now. But I think next year there is a very likely possibility if he keeps playing like he's playing to be called that.
Yeah. So RayG, qualify or else. Is that a threat? I don't know. Yeah. I want to see him make it. Moving on now to another team from CSA after Doc. We're going to be heading on towards top, which I would say he is still up there. Like, he's still performing really well, but he's not as strong as he was like a year or 2 years ago, Jason. I feel like he's falling down the list a little bit. Still in the conversation to some extent, but he's not like the top that got MVP in PMGC like back-to-back, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. He's in the conversation, but like my recent memory of him of this year, PMWC, big letdown. Even regionally in CSA back in spring and fall, yes, they did place, I think, second in the CSA fall finals, but they still didn't have the dominant performance that we expected coming off the back of PMGC. So in my eyes, yeah, he's not nearly up there as Revo, Carrillo. I think he kind of falls behind them in my book.
Yeah, I think he's definitely had a little bit of a rougher time, but I believe that top will get back up there. Don't worry. Trust the process. Moving on to another player though, TonyK. Jason, I know you were kind of critical of TonyK for a period of time, but you were still am to some extent, but he, in the full season, right, got such a good kind of presence in SEA. He did so well in the full season, getting MVP, right, if I'm not mistaken. So he is doing like decent on the global stage, good locally. Of course, it's not PMWI, so it was tougher for him to do well in PMWC. But I would say when it comes to SEA individual players, he is definitely up there. Now, best player in the world, I would have to say currently TonyK, he's in the top 10, but I'm not sure where exactly. It's kind of tough.
He's working his way up there because I think we were heavily critical about the performance when it came to PMWC versus PMWI, not invitational, an event you have to qualify for, and they did pretty well. I wouldn't put him top 5 in my eyes. I think he's more like top 15. I don't necessarily want to put him 100% top 10, but I feel like he's on that border of breaking through top 10. But that's also a little bit of bias on my side, to be fair.
Yeah, he'll be there. He wants to try and prove you wrong, Jason. He's trying his very best to like make himself seen.
Can I introduce the next one?
Sure,
can I the next one? So for me, this is one of the best up and coming players in the world, but not one of the best players in the world. It's Nomi coming in from Team Spirit.
Yeah, this guy has been playing always so well when it comes down to EMEA, but I would even go to say, Jason, he's found his place. Like, he found his team. Like, he's working so well with Effect. The IG-ling of Kitsune. Matic is just working great in tandem with him. I think he's set up properly, but so far, we said it, we're in day 2 currently of PMGC, and he is just obliterating the group. He was MVP of day 1. I think he's still currently the MVP of, like, the overarching league for Group Yellow. Like, this guy is the hope of EMEA to have an MVP win a global title. So, Nomi right now, he's in top 5, definitely.
Okay, I'll do the next one as well. Phallic coming in from I8. They're going to be playing in one of the groups. I can't remember which group right now. I put my full focus on yellow. Best player in Pakistan, yes. Best player in the world, no. I don't think he's been challenged globally yet, and I feel like we're going to find here at PMGC if he can compete like he did in CSA.
I would say actually, in Pakistan, sure, best player. When it comes to CSA, I would say best fragger. I think Doc is in terms of overall skills, he's around there.
No, what fragger or clutch? But clutcher.
You know what? Oh yeah,
he had a lot of clutches.
You're right, clutch. Grenades, though, his utility was really on point. Though I do want to preface this by also saying, I think we got a lot of people saying Phallic in the comments because our channel just popped off with Pakistani audience of PUBG Mobile, so we got a lot of people saying that. So it's a bit biased, but we still brought it up, and I think that Phallic here, we are all going to be paying very heavy attention to what he's going to do going into PMGC, because CSA, he impressed so many people. If he does just even remotely close to that in PMGC, I'm on board, man. He's going to be definitely up in the list of like top 20, top 15 to try and compete for the title. Though, Jason, we get to the last name here, which is by far the most commented name on that video. And I'm going to like say it right away. It's Jonathan from BGMI from India. What do you think, Jason?
I think I've been fair in my analysis of India versus the rest of the world. I feel like I've had a lot of people from India as well agree with what I say when it comes to this. I think best player in India, sure. I think the fact he has not played any global events in the last X amount of years, was it 2, 3, 4 years? You cannot give him best player in the world. However, if that whole, whatever you want to call it, happened with, PUBG Mobile being banned in India, I feel like if he continued his pace, he could easily be in the conversation of best player in the world.
Yeah.
But I cannot give it to him based on the fact he has not been playing globally these last 3-4 years.
I'm just going back to the World League. Like, what was that, 3-4? That was so long ago, man. But like when India was just in the global scene of PUBG Mobile, like Orange Esports, you know, Scout was up there. Of course, Jonathan with TSM Entity and stuff. Like, they were always just competing for those top positions in the ranking. The thing is that now, because the game is different, they got a different meta. If you reintroduce them to the global stage, it's going to take maybe like a year for them to catch up. But I have to agree, if they do get there, and like he will be on pace to like be part of the conversation, be one of the best players in the world. So right now,
well, what if,
it's a big question mark, but there is potential.
What if it, so I didn't think I heard an answer of what if he still was playing globally this whole time. Do you think, obviously you have to kind of like imagine it, do you think he would have been easily in the conversation for top player in the world?
I think I would have him in my top 15, top 10, just from like, and I'm like really going back in terms of like remembering how he was playing back then. I would have to put him like, he could be, but I top player, like actually being the top player, I don't think I would go that direction, no. And we lost Jason. Oh,
nice little power spike of my internet being lost, but yeah,
he's back.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah. Okay, but that's gonna be like. Do you maybe have one player that you would favor to be the best player in the world here, Jason? Before we wrap it up.
I'm so biased, but actually no. You know what? No.
Oh,
Revo. I cannot take away the fact that Alpha 7 has been consistently one of the best teams in the world, whereas 4 America Vibes has not. So for me, I think it's got to be Revo.
I was gonna say Revo. I was hoping you didn't say Revo, but I have to go with Revo too. Like, sure, he's not an IGL, but the amount of success that Alpha 7 had locally, globally, like on those two fronts, I think is in large portion thanks to Mafioso and Revo's duo, but Revo in particular is just such a standout player. He just makes really tough plays just work out because he's just able to clutch it out in so many scenarios. So I would have to also
consistent.
say Revo.
Like, yeah, consistency is ridiculous out of him, Mafioso, Alpha 7. Like, no team has matched this in modern day PUBG Mobile other than BTR back in the day when they reigned supreme, or Nova back in the day when they reigned supreme.
That's true. Like, he's just been so damn consistent. But with that said, that is going to be it for this video. I'm sure we missed a lot of names. There was just too many comments.
I saw it Maxman from someone. Yeah,
no.
top 10.
Less
top
of 10. That. Way less of that. But no, feel free to tell us also in the comments of this video if there's any names we forgot, or if you agree, disagree with our comments and the comments of the community. And if you think Jonathan's the best player, also feel free to, comment it and subscribe. Most importantly, we'll appreciate it. So thank you for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next Pandemonium video. Goodbye.